There's a strange kind of silence that exists only at 2 a.m., the kind that feels heavy enough to press against your skin. The world outside is asleep, but inside your mind, thoughts flicker like neon signs that refuse to dim. You glance at the clock. It's too late to be awake, and too early to rise. You tell yourself, I have to go back to sleep. But the harder you try, the more impossible it feels. And that, right there, is the paradox that traps millions every night. The moment sleep becomes something you try to do, your body rebels. Because sleep is not an act of will, it's an act of surrender. When you start commanding your body to sleep, you stir the ancient alarm within it. The mind's anxiety awakens the stress hormone cortisol, flooding through your system like a silent storm. Your heart rate rises, your breath shortens, and your body, which only moments ago was drifting in peace, is now bracing for danger that doesn't exist. Cortisol, the same hormone that once saved our ancestors from predators in the dark, now keeps modern humans awake in the comfort of their own beds. The narrator's voice slows, calm, reflective. We forget that the body doesn't understand time. It only understands signals. When we fight to sleep, it hears only the signal of survival, not of rest. Dr. Eric Berg, who's battled insomnia for years, learned this the hard way. I used to tell myself, I have to sleep, he admits. But that pressure would wake me up even more. My body was flooded with stress hormones, as if I were running from something invisible. The truth is, you can't chase sleep. You can only create the space for it to find you. Sleep is not a task. It's a conversation between your body and your nervous system. And the first step to winning that conversation is to stop talking. Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a still pond. The more you try to calm the ripples with your hands, the more you disturb the surface. But if you simply stop, the water settles on its own. Your mind is that pond. The first rule of falling back asleep isn't a supplement, a gadget, or a breathing trick. It's surrender. The art of doing nothing. And when you stop trying, when you release the tension of needing to sleep, your body begins to remember. It remembers that rest is its natural state. It remembers that your heartbeat, your breath, your very existence all follow rhythms that were never meant to be forced. Because in the quiet hours of the night, sleep isn't something to conquer. It's something to return to. The scene fades. A slow zoom on a person lying in bed, breathing softly now, the moonlight washing across their face. This is where we begin, the voice whispers, not by fighting the night, but by learning how to listen to it. Every night, your body performs a quiet ritual, one that's been encoded into your biology since the dawn of time. As darkness falls, your core temperature begins to drop ever so slightly. That subtle cooling, barely a degree, is the signal your brain has been waiting for. It tells your hypothalamus, it's time. This small change triggers a cascade of chemistry. Melatonin, the hormone of dusk and dreams, begins to rise. Heart rate slows. Muscles loosen their grip on the day, and the mind begins its descent into the soft abyss of sleep. But there's one detail, one easily overlooked signal, that can stop this natural descent cold. Literally, cold feet. Dr. Berg explains that if your feet are too cold when you go to bed, you can actually confuse the thermostat in your brain. The hypothalamus, unable to synchronize your body's core cooling, withholds melatonin. It's as if your body is waiting for a green light that never turns on. It sounds almost absurd that something as small as the temperature of your feet could affect something as vast as consciousness itself. But biology thrives on small margins. The body is an orchestra, and even a single off note can disturb the entire symphony. So yes, keep your room cool, your blankets light, but your feet warm. This isn't superstition, it's thermoregulation. Studies show that warming the extremities through socks or a light blanket helps blood vessels expand, drawing heat from your core and signaling the brain that it's safe to drift away. In ancient times, our ancestors didn't have thermostats, electric blankets, or sleep apps. Yet they knew. They wrapped their feet in hides, curled beside fires, letting the earth's temperature guide their rest. Somewhere in that primal intelligence lies the wisdom we've forgotten. Modern life has turned sleep into a science project. Light meters, trackers, supplements. But sometimes the cure is disarmingly simple. Warm your feet. Imagine this scene. A person lies awake, restless, tossing under cold sheets. They pull a small blanket over their feet. A gesture so simple it feels almost foolish. But within minutes, their breath deepens. Their pulse slows. The warmth begins to radiate up from the toes, whispering to the brain, "You're safe now." And that whisper, that tiny reassurance of safety, is all the nervous system ever needed. It's easy to think of sleep as a state of unconsciousness, but in truth, it's a delicate act of surrender built on trust. When your body feels safe, it releases its grip on wakefulness. When it feels uncertain, even by a fraction of a degree, it resists. So, before you reach for melatonin or meditation, start with warmth. Because sometimes the path back to sleep begins not in the mind, but in the toes, but in. There's a moment, often around 2 or 3 in the morning, when some people jolt awake, not because of noise or nightmares, but because of something quieter, something chemical. Inside the body, an invisible alarm goes off, a surge of adrenaline, a pulse that races for no reason. The mind spins awake, confused. It feels like anxiety, but in truth it might just be a lack of salt. For decades, salt has been cast as the villain of nutrition. We've been told it raises blood pressure, stiffens arteries, shortens lives. Yet salt, specifically sodium, is one of the oldest and most essential elements of human survival. The body uses it to balance fluids, conduct nerve signals, and regulate hormones. Without enough of it, things start to unravel, quietly and often at night. Dr. Berg explains that when sodium runs low, a hormone called aldosterone spikes. Its job is to conserve salt and water, but it comes at a cost. It also raises adrenaline and cortisol. The same stress chemicals that wake the body for fight or flight now surge through your bloodstream at 2 a.m., turning peaceful dreams into restlessness. And so, the irony, in a world where we consume too much of almost everything, we often sleep poorly because we lack one simple mineral. Think of sodium as the body's electrical stabilizer. When it's low, your nerves fire too easily, like frayed wires sparking in the dark. When it's balanced, your systems hum in harmony. The heart, the brain, the kidneys, all tuned to the same quiet rhythm. This is why a small pinch of sea salt before bed can sometimes work miracles. It's not a superstition, it's biochemistry. That trace of sodium supports aldosterone, steadies blood pressure, and prevents the body from releasing those midnight stress hormones that jolt you awake. Dr. Berg shares an observation. Some people snack on salty chips before bed and claim they sleep better, not because of the carbs, but because of the salt. Yet, those carbs come with insulin spikes that backfire hours later. The secret isn't the chips, it's the mineral. So try it. A bit of sea salt, maybe dissolved in water or sprinkled lightly on your evening meal. It's a small act of restoration, returning to the body something it quietly craves. There's something deeply poetic about this, too. Salt has been sacred throughout human history, traded as currency, used in rituals, offered to the gods. The word salary even comes from salarium, the Roman allowance for buying salt. It was the essence of life, the first preservative, the original symbol of purity. And perhaps that's what it still is. A reminder that health isn't always about adding more pills, more effort, more control. Sometimes it's about returning to the elements that built us. So tonight, as you ready yourself for sleep, remember this: the body is a symphony of chemistry. Sometimes the smallest note, a few grains of salt, can quiet the loudest storm. There's a rhythm that connects all living things, an invisible thread running through every heartbeat, every sigh, every rise and fall of the chest. It's the breath. And yet in the chaos of sleepless nights, it's the first thing we forget. When anxiety creeps in and the mind begins its spiral, replaying thoughts, counting hours, our breathing shifts. It becomes shallow, erratic, desperate. We gulp air through the mouth, flooding our system with oxygen but starving it of calm. Dr. Berg explains this paradox beautifully. When you breathe too much, you actually absorb less oxygen where it matters, in the cells. This is known as the Bohr effect, a principle discovered in 1904 by Danish physiologist Christian Bohr. He found that carbon dioxide isn't just a waste gas, it's a key that unlocks oxygen delivery. Without enough CO2, oxygen clings too tightly to red blood cells and never fully enters your tissues. So when you breathe rapidly, or through your mouth, your body may be drowning in oxygen, but your brain and muscles remain starved. The result? Restlessness, tension, and that subtle, invisible panic that keeps you awake. The solution is ancient and simple. Breathe through your nose. When you do, you create resistance, a soft slowing of airflow that balances oxygen and carbon dioxide. The breath becomes a whisper instead of a gasp. This calm rhythm tells the body, we're safe now. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's built-in peacekeeper, slowing the heart, relaxing the muscles, lowering blood pressure. In that moment, the body begins to unlearn its fear of the night. Picture it. You're lying in the quiet dark. You close your mouth gently and breathe in through your nose. 4 seconds in. A pause. Then exhale. 5 seconds out. The air moves softly, like the tide pulling away from shore. Again and again. Each breath a reminder that control isn't always the answer, that peace begins with surrender. Because breathing isn't just a biological act, it's a dialogue with your nervous system. Every inhale is a message of life. Every exhale, a release of control. Monks have used it for centuries to still the mind. Soldiers use it to slow their pulse under fire. And anyone who's ever calmed a child knows this instinctively, the way slow breathing can quiet panic without words. So as you lie there at 2 a.m., remember, your breath is not your enemy. It is your oldest ally, a bridge back to stillness. And maybe, if you listen closely enough, you'll hear what it's been trying to tell you all along. You are not broken. You are simply breathing too fast for your peace to catch up. Slow down, let the air move like a lullaby, and eventually it will carry you home. There's another invisible enemy of sleep, one that hides not in your mind, but in your metabolism. It's the silent crash of blood sugar. Dr. Berg describes it simply. When you eat a high-carbohydrate diet, your blood sugar rises fast. Insulin steps in to bring it back down, but over time this dance becomes erratic. Blood sugar dips too low, sometimes in the middle of the night. And when it does, your body panics. Because to your biology, low blood sugar isn't an inconvenience, it's an emergency. The brain runs almost entirely on glucose, and when levels fall, it sounds the alarm. Your adrenal glands respond instantly, releasing adrenaline and cortisol to mobilize sugar from the liver and raise blood levels again. These hormones jolt the body awake, heart pounding, mind alert, just as if danger were near. That 3 a.m. awakening you thought was insomnia. It might just be your body trying to save itself from running out of fuel. It's not your mind that's restless. It's your blood chemistry. Over time, this nightly surge of stress hormones becomes a pattern. The body learns that nighttime equals survival mode. And each night, the cycle repeats. Eat carbs, crash, adrenaline, wake. Dr. Berg calls it the blood sugar roller coaster. And he's right. One moment you're calm, the next you're wired, a biochemical seesaw between insulin and adrenaline. The solution isn't to eat more before bed, it's to eat smarter. By reducing refined carbohydrates and becoming fat adapted, meaning your body burns fat instead of sugar for energy, you stabilize your fuel supply. Fat burns slow and steady, like a candle. Carbs burn quick, like paper. When your body learns to use fat as its primary energy source, your blood sugar stays balanced through the night. Cortisol stays quiet. Adrenaline stays asleep. And so do you. It's a modern tragedy that our society treats constant snacking as normal. We graze all day, spiking insulin over and over until our systems forget what calm feels like. Then when the night comes, we expect silence, but the body is still busy processing chaos. In ancient times, food wasn't available 24/7. Our ancestors ate during daylight and fasted at night, aligning with natural circadian rhythms. Today, we've inverted that wisdom. We eat late, under bright light, and then wonder why our sleep is broken. But the science is clear. When you eat matters almost as much as what you eat. Imagine your body as a city. During the day, lights are on, factories humming, traffic flowing. At night, everything slows, streets empty, power conserved. If you dump a load of work into the system at midnight, chaos ensues. The power grid surges. The city can't rest. Your body is that city. Let it shut down peacefully. So as you prepare for sleep, remember, sugar might give you comfort in the evening, but it steals your calm at night. True rest isn't fueled by quick energy. It's built on stability, rhythm, and trust. The quiet assurance that your body has enough. Because the real secret to staying asleep isn't in fighting the night. It's in teaching your body that it no longer needs to wake up to survive it. Sleep is not just the stilling of the mind. It's the surrender of the body. Yet most of us carry the tension of our day, like invisible armor. The shoulders that bore stress at work, the jaw that clenched through frustration, the abdomen that held in unspoken worry. We lie in bed, eyes closed, but our muscles are still on guard duty. Dr. Berg offers a deceptively simple practice, the body scan. It's not a meditation in the abstract sense. It's a physical conversation between awareness and muscle. You start from the top of your head, slowly scanning down through every part of you, searching not for perfection, but for tension. The forehead, the eyes, the neck. You pause, notice, and release. Then down to the shoulders, the chest, the stomach. You feel where you're holding on. Maybe your lower back is tight or your jaw is still locked in thought. You exhale and let go. Not all at once, but like gently unwinding a knot that's been there for years. Science confirms what this ancient practice teaches. Awareness alone changes physiology. Studies on mindfulness-based stress reduction show that body scanning activates the parasympathetic nervous system, slowing heart rate, lowering cortisol and increasing alpha brain waves, the same brain state seen just before deep sleep. In that stillness, something remarkable happens. The body remembers what ease feels like. It's not forced, it's recalled. Imagine this moment cinematically. A single beam of moonlight resting across a sleeping body. Inside, neurons are recalibrating, muscles loosening their grip, blood flowing freely once again. The body isn't shutting down, it's opening up. It's as though your consciousness becomes a kind of light, scanning, soothing, melting away tension you didn't even know existed. And with every exhale, you descend deeper into that dark, healing quiet that only night can bring. The truth is, we live much of our lives disconnected from our bodies. We rush through days, reacting instead of listening. But in the body scan, you do something radical. You pay attention. You turn awareness inward, not as judgment, but as compassion. Because sleep, like peace, begins with permission. You must give yourself permission to stop holding on. Each muscle that softens is a door unlocking. Each breath that deepens is a message to the brain. You're safe now. Dr. Berg describes this technique as super easy and super powerful. And he's right. But it's also profoundly human. It's what we were designed to do. Feel, notice, let go. When your body finally trusts that the day is truly over, your mind follows. And as you drift toward sleep, you begin to understand something that all the science, supplements, and blue light glasses could never teach you. That rest isn't something you achieve. It's something you allow. Because when awareness meets the body with gentleness, tension dissolves. And in that quiet, sleep returns. Not as a task, but as grace. The day begins to die somewhere between sunset and silence. The sky exhales its color. The world slows, and nature begins its nightly descent into stillness. But while the planet winds down, we, modern humans, do the opposite. We flood our homes with light. We eat heavy meals. We scroll through glowing screens long after the stars appear. And then we wonder why our sleep feels broken. Dr. Berg explains one of the simplest yet most overlooked truths about sleep. When you eat is as important as what you eat. He recommends finishing your last meal early, ideally around 4 or 5 p.m., giving your body time to digest before the night begins. Why? Because eating late, especially protein-heavy meals, keeps the body metabolically alert. Digestion demands energy. Blood flow diverts to the gut. Insulin rises. Your body, instead of resting, is working overtime. You might lie down, but inside your organs are still wide awake. Think of it this way. You wouldn't start a long, complex task right before bed. Your mind would race. The same is true for your body. Eating late is like asking your system to clock in when it's trying to clock out. And it's not just digestion. Late-night snacking, especially sugary or carb-heavy foods, spikes insulin. And that insulin keeps cortisol dancing in the background. It's a hormonal tug-of-war that disrupts the stillness your body craves. So what happens if you simply stop eating earlier? You begin to sync with your circadian rhythm, the natural 24-hour cycle that governs every cell in your body. Melatonin rises on schedule. Digestion finishes before you sleep. Growth hormone, the body's nighttime repair crew, finally has the space to work. It's a beautiful orchestration, but only when we stop interfering. Dr. Berg also warns about the hidden connection between nighttime snacking and frequent urination. Many assume it's a prostate issue or aging, but in reality, it's often insulin resistance. Late snacks elevate insulin, which disrupts sodium and potassium balance, triggering the body to flush fluids at night. Ironically, People who reduce snacking and increase salt in the evening often find they wake up fewer times to urinate, not more. The logic is subtle, yet elegant. Potassium draws water out of the body. Sodium retains it. When you get enough sodium, especially sea salt, before bed, you maintain fluid balance and rest deeper through the night. It's almost poetic how the simplest changes, eating earlier, staying low carb, keeping salt in balance, can ripple into profound rest. But beyond biology, there's something deeply spiritual about reclaiming the evening. It's a sacred transition that modern life has blurred beyond recognition. Imagine ending your day not in chaos, but in quiet. Dinner at twilight, a walk in the fading light. No screens, no caffeine, just soft music and gentle shadows. You give your body permission to descend, not abruptly, but gracefully, from wakefulness to rest. The ancients treated dusk as ceremony. Candles, prayers, silence. They understood something we've forgotten. That rest doesn't begin when your head hits the pillow. It begins hours before, in how you treat the last moments of your day. So maybe tonight, instead of fighting sleep, you could make peace with it. Shut down earlier. Dim the lights. Let the world slow through you. Because in the rhythm of health, timing isn't just science, it's reverence. Night used to be truly dark. When the sun disappeared, the only light came from stars, fire, and the moon's silver glow. The darkness told our bodies, it's time to heal. But today, our nights burn as bright as our days, filled with glowing screens, humming routers, and invisible waves that never sleep. Dr. Berg reminds us that this constant stimulation confuses the body's oldest compass, the circadian rhythm. Light is the language of time for your brain. When the eyes detect daylight, particularly blue and green wavelengths, the brain tells the body, stay awake. Melatonin, the hormone of rest, is shut off like a switch. That's why the light from your phone, laptop, or even your living room LEDs can sabotage sleep long before you close your eyes. He shares his own routine, wearing blue and green blocking glasses a few hours before bed. It may seem small, even trivial, but the difference is profound. When he tests it, glasses on versus glasses off, the contrast in sleep quality is undeniable. The glasses block the wavelengths that suppress melatonin, allowing the hormone to rise naturally, creating that gentle wave of sleep pressure your body has been waiting for. Science agrees. Exposure to blue light in the evening delays melatonin release by hours. In one Harvard study, participants exposed to blue light before bed took twice as long to fall asleep and produced half as much melatonin as those exposed to dim light. But light isn't the only modern thief of sleep. There's a quieter culprit, electromagnetic fields, or EMFs. They hum invisibly through every room, from Wi-Fi routers, chargers, cables running behind walls. You can't see them, but your nervous system can feel them. Dr. Berg once measured the EMF radiation in his own bedroom. The readings were highest near a single wall. Hidden behind it, a web of electrical wiring pulsing with energy. Each night, he'd been bathing in that invisible current without even knowing. When he began unplugging nearby devices, his phone, the Wi-Fi, even switching off the breaker before bed, his sleep transformed. Skeptics might call this fringe science, but the evidence is mounting. Electromagnetic exposure can increase nighttime cortisol and disrupt heart rate variability, subtle shifts that signal the body is never fully resting. It's as though we've built a cage of invisible light and noise around ourselves, and then wondered why we can't find stillness. Even our minds, now tethered to the endless scroll of information, have forgotten silence. We go to bed with the world buzzing in our heads, news, notifications, conversations. The brain never truly gets to power down. So here's a thought. Maybe sleep isn't the problem. Maybe it's our relationship with stimulation. Imagine returning to a simpler ritual. A night free from electricity and noise. No screens, no buzzing rotors. Just candlelight and quiet. The room cool and dark. The only light, the soft rhythm of your own breath. In that silence, your body can finally remember what night is supposed to feel like. Not another task to complete, but a sacred threshold, the space where the human nervous system meets the rhythm of the earth. Because sleep isn't just the absence of wakefulness, it's the body's way of reconnecting to the primal dark, a place where light, sound, and thought finally rest. Every living thing on Earth moves to the same invisible rhythm, a cosmic metronome beating in 24-hour cycles. It's written in our DNA, orchestrated by the sun, and measured by a small cluster of neurons deep within the brain, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This is your biological clock, the conductor of your circadian symphony. When light touches your eyes each morning, that clock resets. It signals to every cell in your body, your heart, your liver, your skin, to synchronize their functions for a new day. Hormones shift, temperature rises, metabolism awakens. But when this light cue never comes, or arrives too late, your internal orchestra falls out of tune. You may still go through the motions, but you're living slightly offbeat, out of rhythm with nature itself. Dr. Berg ends with a deceptively simple but powerful prescription. Morning light. Step outside within 20 minutes of sunrise. Let natural light hit your eyes, not through glass, not filtered through blinds, but directly. Even on cloudy mornings, the dose of daylight anchors your circadian rhythm, ensuring melatonin will rise again when night returns. This, he says, is how you reclaim sleep before it even begins. It's a poetic symmetry, that what you do in the light determines how well you rest in the dark. For millions who spend their days under artificial light and nights under screens, the rhythm is broken. Our ancestors woke with the dawn, worked beneath the sun, and slept beneath the stars. We've traded that harmony for 24-hour brightness and constant stimulation, and our biology hasn't caught up. But here's the beauty. It doesn't take much to return. You don't need a retreat or a laboratory. You just need to see the sun. In one clinical study, participants who received morning sunlight within an hour of waking fell asleep an average of 30 minutes faster and stayed asleep longer. Their melatonin cycles normalized. Their energy during the day improved. It's as if the body whispered, "Thank you for remembering." Imagine starting your day like this. You wake early, the world still hushed. The horizon glows faintly gold. You step outside barefoot, the air cool and alive. The light touches your face, not harsh but tender, and something ancient within you stirs. This is what your ancestors felt every morning for thousands of years. This is how your body knows it belongs to the earth. From that moment, your inner clock begins its slow, precise countdown to rest. You've already begun to prepare for sleep, even before your day has truly started. And that's the secret. Sleep is not an event that happens at night. It's a rhythm that begins at dawn. Everything we've learned, from warm feet and steady salt to breath, stillness, and light, points to the same truth. Sleep isn't something to chase. It's something to align with. When you live in rhythm with the natural world, when you eat with the sun, rest with the dark, and breathe with awareness, your body stops fighting itself. You return to a harmony older than civilization, older than thought itself. The voice slows, the tone deepens, reflective, almost sacred. Sleep is not the end of the day. It's the beginning of renewal. It's the body's silent prayer, the spirit's retreat, the earth calling you back to its pulse. So tonight, when you lie down, remember this: you are not separate from nature. You are part of its rhythm, the same rhythm that pulls the tides, blooms the flowers, and turns the planet toward the light again. Let it carry you. Let the night take you home.